I'm Gene Grant here in the studios of New Mexico PBS with our Line Opinion panelists getting ready to talk about some of the top stories of the week. But before we get started, we're going to warm up with an off-the-cuff question for our panel. President Trump is known for many trademark characteristics. Featured prominently in the news right now is the distinct style of the handshake. Tom, starting with you, how important is the handshake in your world? What is the most awkward handshake you've ever had? I'm curious of that too. And what do you make of Mr. Trump's flat reach out and yank in and squeeze? What do you think of that handshake?
I think it's like him, one of a kind. I don't think I've ever seen that anywhere. Worst handshake are usually the ones with the sweaty palms from the other party and not really strong and forceful.
That's right. That's right. What do you make of that one, Antoinette?
It would make me so uncomfortable. I just don't know how I'd react because it's really pulling you forward.
Right.
Very awkward.
What do you make of the way the Prime Minister of Canada handled that situation the other day?
He made me laugh. I thought, well, everybody, the way they handle it, it's a surprising look on their face.
Exactly. Are you a traditional handshake? Are you one of those guys that immediately you meet somebody and I am too.
Hand straight out, kind of get wide fingers so that I don't get engulfed by somebody else's hand. Just try to firm grip, look them in the eye. How you doing?
That's right. There you go.
Try to do that.
What do you
most
make of
awkward
Mr. Trump's
handshake.
style?
Most awkward handshake. I got to tell you, kind of similar. Believe it or not, it has a similar handshake when you think about it. If you've ever shaken his hands, President Clinton. I remember President Clinton at the Capitol one time, and at the state Capitol, and he shook my hand, and he shakes your hand, pulls you in, and leans over you right away to make sure you know that he's 6'3", 6'4", and you're 5'9.5".
Right. I've actually shaken his hand too. It was interesting. I didn't get the pull in, but I noticed his hands was like kid leather. It was amazing. The smoothest hand I'd ever touched in my life. It's amazing.
He makes sure that he gets in your space and makes sure that it's a very dominating handshake that he gives you.
I hear you. Julianne Grimm, interesting for women. I talk about this with my daughters now and again. My oldest is getting into the workplace now. And there was that thing a few years ago, it was like the standard, the double pump and out. Do you know what I mean? There was like this respectful.
Right. I'm also a big fan of the closing it in when you're saying goodbye. Like if you really like them, you take your other hand and close it in. But one of my awkward handshake stories was when Janet Reno was invited to a bat mitzvah in Albuquerque. Do you remember that happening? This young girl in Albuquerque invited her to the event. She came. She was considering running for governor against Jeb Bush that year, and I got to shake her hand, and those are like the biggest hands.
Yeah, big hands.
Big hands.
Interesting.
Yeah, like just Janet Reno power hands.
Is this some weird thing from the past that's on its way out, or is this a part of us, the handshake thing? Like, why do we do this actually? Did anybody have a thought on that? It's the strangest thing.
Yeah.
You're in a business where handshaking's going on all the time. So.
It is, and sometimes it's hard to tell if these days, especially with millennials, if you're going in for the handshake or the fist bump.
Good point.
Well, if you're the roundhouse, it turns into a hug in New Mexico politics, and if you don't hug back, you're kind of. It's hard. It's awkward, Gene.
And then cold and flu season.
Shoulder hug,
The side.
My daughter has a YouTube video on awkward hugs.
No way.
The whole thing is awkward hugs.
I'm looking that up tonight. I want to see it. Thank you all. Good fun.